Gentlemen, welcome back to the Prime Dude. Rob Edwards here. We're going to have a fun conversation today because I'm talking about one of my favorite shoe brands, Allen Edmonds, but at the same time, they drive me a bit nuts. Why do they drive me nuts? Because they've gone through a lot of changes. I've known this brand literally all my life, and I think for those of you who are wondering why they do so well, you're going to learn a lot from this show because I did my research and I've known about them, quite a bit about them for a long time, but there's some things I learned recently that tell me they're probably untouchable. Yes, I said untouchable. This is a global powerhouse brand, and it's crazy the experiences I've had wearing other shoemakers and people here in the United States assuming because they look great, they have a medallion cap toe, that they are, quote, those Allen Edmonds. So I'm going to talk about why that is, why they're not going anywhere, and of course some things I wish they'd work on now that they've expanded and shifted some of their manufacturing to the Dominican Republic. There are definitely some improvements that can be made. Let's get into it. What is it about these dress shoes? When you look at them, especially my audience overseas in India, you know I love Bridlin, Blackbird. I just tried Anthony Veer. I love Urine Shoemaker. I mean, these international brands are killing it, and arguably they make shoes that are better quality when you get down to the microscope. It doesn't matter, guys. They're never going to touch Allen Edmonds. And I'm not bragging as an American because I'd like to put pressure on them. I think competitive pressure is a part of why they're doing what they're doing. They're definitely trying to get expanded into international markets. They've set up really low cost and even free international shipping. And keep in mind, it is an American-made product. Yes, it is, and it's technically so. Now, not all shoes are completely made in Port Washington, Wisconsin, where this company was founded in 1922. So this has been a 100-year-old company. That time frame, you're talking over a century, that is rivaling the great English shoemakers that go way before, but not that much. You get into 100 years, you're kind of in the same boat. You've been around, you've got the experience, and you've built a customer base that expects high quality. Allen Edmonds is the known brand for Goodyear welted shoes in the United States. That is what they're famous for. You go to any cobbler here and you ask them, what's the number one shoe brand that you reshoe, that you resole, without a doubt, in any market? Because everybody's bringing shoes to get resold. They take care of their shoes here. They're shoe investors. It's Allen Edmonds. Their number one shoe they sell is the Park Avenue in black. This one right here. And it's one of my favorites. Now, I've got a Crockett & Jones black cap-toe dress shoe. I've got cap-toe dress shoes from all kinds of shoemakers, and I wear some of them, maybe more. But the Park Avenue is the workhorse. That's the number one seller for Allen Edmonds worldwide. These guys are a $750 million company and growing. Before you know it, they will be a billion-dollar global shoe company. That is serious. You're doing something right. What are they doing right? First, they're a shoe company truly for everyone and anyone. What do I mean by that? Dress shoes, we know. They offer multiple styles, multiple colors, and they're most famous for the shoe people like us is their chili, their dark chili and their regular chili. It's strange because it's not a color you see other shoe brands adopt. They've got cognacs, they've got mahogany, which Allen Edmonds has too, but the chili is kind of what they own. Now, if the Park Avenue is an icon, the Fifth Avenue, the one I showed you here, is the little brother. They're not quite as expensive. Really, you shouldn't be paying more than $380. Believe me, I love the shoe brand, but you need to get them on sale. I think you get over $400. You're paying Allen Edmonds too much money. Now, beyond these two, the Park Avenue and Fifth Avenue, the big icon, the first pair that I ever owned is the Strand. The Strand is a semi-brogue. You got all the beautiful broguing with the medallion cap toe that is signature of a semi-brogue. So it's a cap toe. It's got all the pinking, the lines, and beautiful details that you want in a gorgeous walnut color, or you can get them in black and all the other colors. But the walnut seems to be the kind of icon of the Strand Monk dress shoe from Allen Edmonds. Now, it's sad. This is actually my second pair. I love them so much, and you guys know I'm not a big tan and light brown dress shoe guy. You got to style these appropriately. Never wear them with navy, dark gray, or even mid-gray. It's always for lighter colors, neutral colors. But I actually had to buy a second pair, and I went a couple years without them because they were stolen after I left them in a hotel, literally for over an hour, came back and nobody could find them. That's what happens when you leave an icon behind in a U.S. hotel. So I'm serious. These shoes, up close, there's details and things you like to see different. I've seen people on YouTube argue that Beckett-Simonon is a killer of Allen Edmonds. Absolutely no way, no chance. I love Beckett-Simonon, but I can get Allen Edmonds dress shoes in 3 business days. Beckett-Simonon takes 3 or 4 months because they make in small batches. Now, for the price of 1 pair of Allen Edmonds, I can get 2 pairs of Beckett-Simonon. So don't get me wrong. Beckett-Simonon, not Goodyear welted, Blake stitched. They've done a fantastic job of lowering the cost because they don't make a lot of inventory like Allen Edmonds, but there's a benefit to inventory. I'm a 10.5D in Allen Edmonds, and I can get a 10.5D in just about any shoe anytime I want in a couple days delivered from Allen Edmonds. Not to harp on Beckett-Simonon, it's just a different business model. So I'm not going to have that same experience. And if the Allen Edmonds shoe is a little wide, a little narrow, a little too long, which I've had happen, easiest return of any shoe company I've ever worked with. That has a lot of value to people in the United States because most of us are not used to shopping online. So having a easy return, simple FedEx return domestically for Allen Edmonds, it's a no-brainer. I've mentioned they're the icon of Goodyear welted shoes in the U.S. There's no doubt about it. They are the known Goodyear welted shoe. And most of the people that are paying into that $750 machine, $750 million machine from Allen Edmonds, don't even know what Goodyear welted is. And it'll drive you nuts here because these are a quality shoe. Are they the quality of Crockett & Jones? No. But Crockett & Jones are going to cost you twice as much for U.S. customers. That's the challenge for us over here. So unless I want to pay $1,000, or I paid for my Westbournes almost $900, I can get a cap toe in black, a very dressy, fairly versatile cap toe for $369 during the April and October sale. Literally less than half than a beautiful, right? Beautiful semi-brogue cap toe from, or it's like the austerity kind of design, the Westbourne from Crockett & Jones. One of the things they're most famous for and why they are doing fairly well, they won't disclose, couldn't find their international sales, what that $750 million broke down to. That's just their global take from 2023, I think, 2024. But now we get into the widths. And when you go to these other shoe companies like Beckett-Simonon, they offer one width. If you're not a standard width shoe, they're going to try to give you these little inserts and all that. Allen Edmonds has multiple width options. I mean, from triple E, C, and B for narrow. So you go on these forums and you see the diversity of feet, especially in the U.S. We're such a melting pot. People from Asia, I've learned, tend to have wider feet. People from Scandinavian countries might have, I don't know, more narrow feet, wider feet. I don't see Viking heritage having narrow feet, but you never know. Wherever you're from, there is like a genetic heritage linked to the size and width of your feet. Allen Edmonds takes all comers. They're not bespoke, but again, most people aren't looking to pay $2,000 US plus for the perfect fitted dress shoe in bespoke. So if you've got an odd shaped, narrow, or super wide foot, Allen Edmonds is your brand. These are handmade shoes as well, and you're getting in multiple widths, diversity of size that I don't see with any other shoemaker unless you get into a custom bespoke option. So it's easy to order, easy to return, tons of options from sneakers to dress shoes to boots, great colors, unique colors. You're seeing why. As much as you find haters online because the quality's not what it used to be, you're seeing why they're a $750 million company. Now let's talk about quality. Yes, admittedly, it's not what it was 50 years ago or 30 years ago. They've been bought and sold a couple times. Right now, they're owned by a company, Caleres. I'm assuming they're European. I actually don't know, but they bought them in 2016, and they made some changes. They weren't the ones that started the Dominican Republic factory. There were already shoes being made in the Dominican Republic by the holding company before Caleres, but they were just the moccasins and I think maybe like slip-ons. It was a real simple model. It was an easy place to hand make the shoes that weren't Goodyear welted. When this company, Caleres, paid $255 million for Allen Edmonds, and let's do the math, they've done pretty well since then. So they've done something right. They looked at the Dominican Republic factory as an opportunity to make lasts. They knew, they were smart enough to know, these guys aren't idiots, they were smart enough to know that they had to keep the American-made, Wisconsin, Port Washington-made brand about it. Because this, when they bought it, they knew they had the strongest dress shoe brand in America in their hands. So what they do, they expanded what they do in Dominican Republic. They trained that team down there to make lasts, leather lasts for some of their shoes. Like the Park Avenue will always be made in Port Washington, but those lasts that are made in the Dominican Republic are then shipped to Port Washington, where they're used to assemble and welt the shoes. So they are still technically American made. You see a lot of fuss about this online, but I'm sorry, I don't attribute some of their quality issues that you see to the Dominican Republic, because internationally, as an American, I'm thrilled with all of the shoes I'm getting from foreign countries, like Beckett Simonon, which are made in Colombia, Yearn, China. I mean, the nicest dress shoes I may have bought in my entire life, for the price, I say pound for pound, a bit over $500, are the single monk straps I have from Yearn Shoemaker. So I'm not a hater. But for $200 less, I can get a really good shoe that comes here in 3 days from Allen Edmonds as well. And they're high quality. And like I said, if I think something's off, I've gotten a couple with scratches on it. I've got a couple with some stitching off. Not bad. But why not? I returned them. They had my size. And it took me 3 times once. I had a pair of shoes. They were a tan, like walnut color, tassel loafer. And it took 3 times. They don't care. They give you reward points. So every time I seem to buy shoes from them, I have some kind of discount built in. So I time it when they're having a sale. I mean, we're talking new shoe sale. Then I offer my rewards points. I'm getting dress shoes, high quality Goodyear welted dress shoes for under $200 sometimes. On top of their new shoes, they're ready to made, newly made shoes. They sell factory seconds that if you're patient, you can score some really incredible deals for close to $200, like my Fifth Avenues here. These dark chili Fifth Avenues were factory seconds for about $205, and they have lasted. They look great. When I looked at, there was maybe a couple little leather imperfections. I saved retail over $200, so no problem. Give me those factory seconds, but be patient, because I've gotten some weird ones too. Free returns every time. So it's clear Allen Edmonds is the shoe brand, dress shoe brand in the United States. There's no arguing it. And that's not going to change. They're at $750 million when Caleres bought them, $255 million they spent. That is a fantastic return. They're doing something right. They're able to make more shoes. They've expanded their customer base, and they're setting up international shipping to capitalize on an American brand that might be attractive to folks overseas. It is a classic brand in a point in a time where classic is exploding. Think about it. We are reverting back to classic menswear, classic shoes. It's a nirvana for me. When I came up in the 80s, even if you liked classic, you were kind of weird because everything was future, and that wasn't new. Appliances, cars, everything was about being futuristic, starting post-World War II in the 50s in what was kind of the modern era, this massive expansion here in the U.S., and it was definitely Europe too. People wanted futuristic, home of the future. Allen Edmonds was marketed as the shoes of the future because of the construction, because of how they looked. They were just about it when it comes to those type of shoes. Now, Florsheim's been around forever, and they were Johnston & Murphy. They were big luxury brands then, not what you see now. Not bad shoes, just more low cost, high volume. Whereas Allen Edmonds has kind of stayed right there. They're making the volume, and they have higher margins, and that's what Caleres and these companies figure out when they make these acquisitions. But what a time for them, because their competitors are helping them. If you spend time on YouTube and you get excited about a classic leather pair of men's dress shoes and you're in the United States, you might not want to go through TLB Mallorca and trust something coming from Spain and you're worried about tariffs. Guess what? An American shoe buyer knows there are no tariffs coming from an Allen Edmonds pair of dress shoes, and you can get it in just a few days and get a classic, beautiful brogue, cap toe, wingtip, you name it, for a decent price, for the value of a shoe that will last you for the rest of your life if you take care of them. They're drafting off that. They're drafting off this excitement about classic men's dress shoes, and what a time to be on trend as they have before. They touched the future stuff. You know, we're going close to 75 years ago into the 80s. Through the 90s, they held on to their classic brand during the grunge era here in the U.S., which was terrible. Had to grow up through that too. Now we're in their nirvana. So what a fun time for all of us, because it's a massively competitive market. You've got India bringing high-quality shoes, China, Saigon, Vietnam. You got CNES shoemakers, Singapore. I mean, it's wild. Allen Edmonds is going to keep chugging along, but, you know, they're not perfect. So that's it for the show. I mean, I just wanted to tell you guys what I thought about Allen Edmonds, a company that's been around over 100 years here in the U.S., rivaling a lot of international shoe companies with heritage. They're not going anywhere. Don't hate on them. You don't have to buy from them. If you decide you're interested in a pair of Allen Edmonds shoes, watch for sales. You can't go wrong with the leather sole cap toe Park Avenue. The Fifth Avenues are kind of a semi-brogue. They've got the brogue at the cap toe stitching, the broguing, but that's it. It's really more of a classic dress shoe as well, and they've got them in all colors. That's where I'd start, and then maybe move to the strands. Lots of shoe brands, as you know, I review a bunch here. So you pick, you decide, but they're not going anywhere. And I'm excited about that. I don't want him to. Like I said, this is my dad's shoe, right? He's not going to be around for much longer. It's tough. And he's got a pair of Allen Edmonds shoes that are too big for me, but it's kind of cool. They'll fit my son. Without getting too emotional, that's pretty cool. And it means something to me. And I think those of you in the UK, when I watch the Chaps Guide, Ash from the Chaps Guide, he's got that feel about shoes over there, and I love that. He's the reason I bought my first Loke pair of shoes, because I love the heritage of the UK. That's part of my lineage. I love Italian. I love the Spanish shoes that are coming out. I love heritage that you feel in Europe and other countries, in India, my Indian friends, how proud you must be of what's happening with shoes. I'm so excited for you and to support brands like Bridlin, like Blackbird shoes. I mean, it's just a neat thing. But I'm always going to support Allen Edmonds too, and it's not because they're American. It's because they're like family. And good for them for hanging in there this long and expanding and making a lot of money. I'm still a happy customer. When you get a chance, I'd appreciate you guys liking the show, subscribing to it. Thanks for staying till this part of the show. I do appreciate it. Not everyone does. We're all busy. I can't think of, not many shows I finish. There are a few out there like Ask Oki. They're the best as far as their podcast. I watch every minute. I think of Ash's show too, the Chaps Guide. Maybe we get there with Prime Dude, guys. I'm so grateful for you coming and spending time. Let me know what you think about Allen Edmonds. Recommend other shoes to me. There's a lot I don't know. I love being vulnerable about this show, vulnerable, and learning from you. Thanks again. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for bearing with me. As always, stay prime.